Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Hugo Watanuki, and I'm part of the team effort that supports the HPCC Systems academic program. Today, I'm happy to introduce you to three distinguished members of our academic community who will showcase the latest and greatest information regarding the projects they are developing with the support from our academic program. First, we'll have Taiowa Donovan and Nick Schwartz from American Heritage School in the United States, demonstrating how school safety can be improved with the usage of drones and RFID technologies. His first presentation will be followed by Henrique Buzin from the Federal University of Santa Catarina in Brazil, who will demonstrate his exploration of interfault communication using HPCC systems. I hope you enjoy these two presentations that we have lined up for you today. Thank you so much in advance for joining us. And over to you, Ty and Nick.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, Hugo, and thank you to everyone at HPCC Systems for the continued support. As a little backstory, this support has been ongoing for a number of years. We have taken great pride in the relationship that we have been able to nurture with everybody involved. And we're really excited to present the next phase of our presentation. From the backstory standpoint, obviously school safety and security has been a big topic in the United States, especially for a number of years. Recent tragedies or tragedies that have happened in our state and around the country really brought into focus our need to address this with different bits of technology that we feel comfortable with. This presentation is going to show our latest approach to that challenging task. Prior to this, we did a lot of work with facial recognition, using technology to identify whether somebody would be on our campus with permission, like a student, faculty, and staff, or somebody that may not have permission to be on this campus, whether that is an intruder, somebody with malicious intent, or perhaps a grandparent who came onto campus looking for their grandchild's presentation. All of these situations need to be handled differently, but from our standpoint, we found that there were greater needs to address on the school security side, and that's what we are going to present in today's presentation. If you look at our slide, we have a number of things listed that really are specific to our campus. We have code red drills that we participate in that a lot of schools are now participating in, unfortunately, because the reality of our times is that it's more likely that you're going to have school shootings or tragedy events at a campus more so than fires. I know growing up, we always practiced fire drills. That was something, you'd hear the fire drill, you line up and you go outside. But unfortunately, with the current times, our training from administration has really been focused more on keeping students safe in an ever-changing world. So our code red drills and lockdowns are very specific in our protocol. We have students that will stay locked in the classroom. We have plans for students that are not able to get to a secure location to go to different exits around the campus. But the accountability of the students, knowing where they are in real time, is a concern. When you have a lockdown situation, it's radio silence. So the teacher in that classroom or the faculty that is in charge would know the students they have, but communication is always hindered in situations like this because you're not able to, under radio silence, transmit and communicate to other security. So our project this year addressed a number of different things. The drone we kept into the project this year, but it's an enhanced drone that Nick will talk a lot more about its capabilities. But now we'll have an eye on the sky that'll be able to identify an intruder and track them. We have a lot of those features now that enhance the ability to get real-time information to security personnel and to law enforcement, and many times without personnel knowing, or without that person knowing they're even being surveyed. There's obviously the description of the intruder. If you know from eyewitness accounts, many times the eyewitness accounts are not that great, and in many cases not that valid. And memory is something that can fade by the time you're interviewed. Description of the vehicle and the license plate. When you have a drone in the sky, you're able to get this real-time information, recording and streamed, and do something with that in a real time. The discrete tracking and RTH thermal and loudspeaker parts that Nick will talk about in greater detail. But I think our focus is making sure that if somebody comes onto campus, we're able to track them, and then we're able to coordinate our security efforts with all of the information we're going to share with you, and let administration know that we have students accounted for.
Okay. Thank you. So yeah, if we take a look back at 2022 when we had our previous drone solution, this drone was great. However, there are a couple limitations with it, and that's what we mainly focus on this year, is expanding the capabilities of this whole security project. So as you can see in the drone here, it is relatively light. It weighs sub 250 grams, which helps it with some laws and regulations regarding drones and other aircrafts. However, it is important with now the growing laws with the FAA to have a license and remote ID transmitted aircraft. So in that case, with the new solution, we have all these other features as well as that. So there are a couple things with it. There is a 56 times hybrid zoom camera on it. And what's really important about this drone is that we're capturing information to send to authorities. So with this drone, it would be a little bit more of a close combat drone. That means it would go up and actually get the action of what's going on. However, with this, we can actually discreetly capture the intruder and get a description on them to report to authorities. So it has a couple of features for actually finding the person. So we have a thermal camera on it. Like mentioned before, that thermal camera helps, especially at nighttime. It will be able to find somebody. If somebody's hiding in, let's say, like a bush or behind a wall, the thermal camera can capture that a lot easier than a normal camera would. So getting things like their license plate is also now capable with this large zoom camera, which we'll demonstrate in a video after this. And also loudspeaker. So like mentioned before, if somebody is just lost and they're not an actual threat or intruder, we can loudspeaker to them to tell them, hey, this is not an area you're allowed to be in. Please go to a security officer so we can get you informed and stuff like that. So I think now would be a good time to go into the introduction video to kind of show some of its capabilities and what it does. So play that.
Now, in this introduction video that we're going to show, we did take some creative liberties. You may notice a very important role actor in there at the end. You may notice some similarities. It's my introduction to Hollywood.
All right, we'll go ahead.
Of a suspicious car at the east gate.
10-4, we en route. Security to flight. Can you get eyes on him?
Yeah, I have eyes on him. It's a white male suspect. Seems to be at the gate taking photos of some type. Can you please check out?
10-4, en route.
Stallion Robotics.
Yeah, I think what I'd like to do is explain what we're doing and why. So we have the obvious approach with the drone. The eye in the sky gives us the ability to track an intruder. Now, that's only part of it. So identifying somebody that's not supposed to be on campus, tracking them, identifying, presenting that information is, I think, the first crucial step. But now we're left with the challenge of communication and accountability. And our biggest asset of the school would be our student body population. What we want to know is where the students are at any given time. And what Nick has developed, he's taken technology that is readily available, but in this case use, we've really fine-tuned the capabilities for our purposes. So real-time attendance in the classroom, what that'll do is it'll give us the ability to say all of these students are accounted for, they are safe in a secure location. But if they're not, then we have a member of the student body that may be in a different location, and under a lockdown, it would be very hard for us to identify where they are and to communicate that to security in order to address their security concerns. This would be an instant update for anybody, for security, teachers, administrators, so we know the campus is secure. The long range UHF tags and the way that we're doing this is something that Nick worked heavily on. So I'm going to turn it over to him to explain how we are maintaining the attendance of the student body.
Thank you. Okay, so the first thing is it's going to be integrated into our existing lanyards and ID tags here. So at our school, we have these pretty simple ID tags with a barcode, which contains our student ID number. And so how this would work is it would actually use the same plastic cards that students are used to. So we can still have the same lanyard, same profile, form factor, flexible PVC cards, but instead it can now have this UHF RFID technology built into them. So right here, I have blank tags, and these tags actually have the UHF chips built inside of them. And as you can see, it's the same profile, super thin, light, and these tags can have the long-range technology built into them, so the students are already used to this. And so what this allows is we can place the antenna, which I have here. And these antennas can be strategically placed around the campus. So doors going into classrooms would be an area where we'd have them. And then it can mark when the student walks in and leaves. And there's a couple of uses for that. And there's also another video to kind of demonstrate how we would use this at our school. And I'll just play that now. And Mr. Donovan is going to go ahead and talk about how we would use it at our school.
So in our use case scenario, identifying the students through any of these checkpoints, when you have a classroom setting, the teacher's computer can automatically log the students as they enter. When they are leaving, let's say a student goes for the bathroom break, they're called to the front office, or whatever reason they are not there, it will log when they leave, timestamp and everything, and data, which is great. But what we're proposing is a red light, green light system for the school. So in this case, when all of the students are accounted for in a specific zone or a classroom, that zone would be highlighted green on a map that security is able to monitor whenever. If somebody leaves to go to the bathroom, now out of those 20 students, you have 19. That classroom would be designated as a red light until that student returns. This would give us the ability to communicate to security administrative personnel where students are at any time. Now, if they're not there, where are they? And I think our biggest concern is on campus, we have a number of zones that you saw in the video. So we can say, hey, they were last identified at this checkpoint. And then all of the exit gates would have the RFID antenna on there. So when they pass through, it would log them if they did flee campus, for instance, out of any one of our security gates. And then the major portion of this would be after the code red is over, we have the process of reunification, where we want to make sure that everybody that fled campus in this scenario is able to be accounted for, so we can make sure that the safety and security of all of our staff and students and personnel have been addressed. And then real-time communication to parents who are obviously concerned as well.
Yeah, another thing to touch up on is this technology is extremely versatile when having it in the school. So like I mentioned before, that our tags, they already have barcodes on them with the student ID. So it can actually replace that. So an example, when we go to lunch and we need to scan to pay for our food, it can be replaced with just one of these scanners. You can have a tiny portable one, and then it can streamline the process and make it a lot faster for everyone. And this technology has been around for a while. You're probably most familiar with it in the near field communication form, that's NFC tags. And those are the tags that you would have like a hotel card or a gate entrance. Those would be NFC tags. This is a UHF tag, which is used in, let's say, an example of this is like a SunPass. So they're long range antennas, and this can actually go up to 16 feet for reading. So it can just be a general zone or something like a door that you just pass through, and that's when it takes the attendance. I'm leaving it.
So just to back this up, now the third component of this is coordinating efforts with our security personnel. And as you know, let's say if we have the school in zones, we can identify where the intruder is and coordinate our security personnel, but it's really helpful to have real-time location of all of the necessary equipment to deal with this and the personnel, so that our chief of security would be able to coordinate those efforts. So we're proposing or prototyping, and we have already prototyped a GPS communication device using the LoRa mesh, which Nick will talk about in greater detail. But that's going to give us the ability to make informed decisions about the specific response that the security is going to make. But more importantly, if there is somebody that the drone identifies hiding in a location, the security personnel that's routinely walking or patrolling might not know where that is. So now with this real-time tracking of security personnel with the communication aspect, the head of security would be able to give these commands saying, hey, we have identified a suspicious whatever in wherever location. And that would allow us to help address those specific challenges. It's going to, help with the coordination between security administration and then ultimately the teachers and the students. And then the mobile app and texting feature gives us a great ability to real-time communicate, but without the need to communicate over walkie-talkies, which obviously could be listened into. Okay. And so Nick can explain a little bit about what the LoRa mesh and the GPS portion of this is.
Yeah, so with this new system, we actually have two forms. We have forms that could be built into, let's say, a golf cart, for example. So that enables GPS tracking for golf carts and security personnel on that cart. And all this information, like mentioned before is supposed to be fed back real time to a map so a security officer can monitor everything. In the long run, everything will be integrated together. So we'll have drone location, we'll have the students' lists, attendance of different zones or buildings or classrooms that they're in. And with this technology, it uses LoRa. LoRa is a long-range UHF. It works on the same band as the RFID tags, actually, or same bandwidth. And what that enables is super long-range mesh communication. Mesh meaning that you can have two units. We'll also have handheld units you can be placed on, let's say, like a vest or in the security personnel's pocket, along with a mobile app interface as well. And so the long-range system meshes off of each other. So the range of the system is already great. It can go from one corner of the campus to the other campus, intertesting, no problem with just handheld units. Now, let's say there is a security person with a damaged antenna or something just went a little bit wrong. Maybe the weather is bad or big concrete walls or something is blocking it. They mesh off each other, which greatly extends the range. So one unit could connect to another unit. And then if that unit is in the range of another unit, they still have communication between all three of them. And that's a really great technology. It uses the LoRa long fast protocol, and it's based off Meshtastic, which is an open source off-grid communications network. However, it's been modified to greatly change the way the GPS responds. So we wanted the GPS to be super quick, real time, and refresh like every second, which is why we had to modify some of that. And then we'll go ahead and play an introduction video to again show how we're going to integrate it at our school.
So I think, as you can see from the great videos that Nick put together, our response strategy has a multiple or a multi-pronged approach. First, the drone, identifying whatever threat we may perceive to be immediate, identifying student location, communicating that location in real time to security personnel and administrators. Taking the next element, if there are missing students, to identify where they may be in real time and giving that security coverage an enhanced feature. In addition, the LoRa identifying the school personnel, identifying the students, and knowing where the potential threat or intruder is really enhances the school security. There's so many applications to this that are outside of just this scope. We've had a tremendous response from teachers just being excited to say, hey, there is a live recording that does not have to be entered. In the case of a real emergency, something like taking attendance, if that didn't happen at the beginning of class, would be a real challenge for this. This is done automatically. That we will have them near the bathroom, so we will know where students are, given that they have their ID on at all time. So I think with the coordination of our security personnel and our administrators, it really has the potential to address some serious threats and then provide a safe environment for all of the students. Because, as you know, the last thing students should be worried about is feeling safe at their school. So I want to thank all of you for the time. This has been a really great opportunity for us to take a wonderful relationship with HPCC Systems and mesh it with our real needs here. On a personal note, the school has taken some of our work. They've seen the value in that, and the school is now in the process of installing permanent drones on campus that will have the ability to land in their own docking positions and run security. So they have taken, the work that we've done over the years, saw enough value in that to invest. We will now be taking the rest of the year to enhance the RFID, student ID, and the LoRa for the security personnel. And that will be the focus of our next year, to bring all of this together out of a prototype and hopefully into something that is fully adopted by the school. So we're really excited about this. Thank you all for the opportunity to share, and we'd like to now turn it over to our next speaker. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Henrique Buzin, and today I will discuss a topic I have been researching, exploring the capabilities of HPCC systems in facilitating interfog communication. I am master student in computer science at the Federal University of Santa Catarina, UFSC. I am researching fog computing architectures that enable interfog communications. If you would like to get in touch or want more information, you can access the link tree showing the screen. Now let's introduce the topic. Fog computing emerged as a natural extension of cloud computing, driven by the need to process data closer to its sources to reduce latency and improve the performance of real-time applications. In this image, we can see various situations where fog computing is used. SUG is a statue case for broadcasts in hospitals for patient monitoring and management data, among others. Let's now explore the theoretical fundamentations that support this work. Distributed computing refers to a system in which components located in different computers communicate and coordinate the are to be exchanged messages. Cloud computing offers an efficient way to deliver on-demand IT services, providing flexibility, scalability, and cost reduction. Below are three main current cloud service providers. The architecture for processing large volumes of data must be scalable, resilient, and efficient, capable of handling complexity and growth volume of data generated in real time. Below are three main programs for massive data processing today. Edge compute allows data processing and storage to occur close to the data sources, reducing latency and improving the performance of real-time applications. Fog computing, also known as edge computing, emerges as an extension of cloud computing paradigm, offering a solution of the latency and bandwidth limitations faced in centralized cloud environments. Devices send information to the fog using different protocols. The fog is a device with less processing power than the cloud is physical close, which reduces latency. The fog pre-process data. This data is sent in unified way to the cloud, reducing bandwidth usage. In the cloud, the final process is known. Communication protocols are very important in fog compute because they enable the communication itself. In the search, we are using four protocols: HTTP for request response communication, WebSocket for create a unique bidirectional communication channel, SFTP for secure file transfer, and CoAP used interfaces with process constraints like IoT. Let's now explore the related work for this search. In this work, the device layer sends data to the fog, which receives pre-processed and sends it to the cloud. The difference is that this layer has a fog service controller that checks if there is a processing capacity available in the fog. If there is, it sends data back for processing in the fog. If not, it sends for the cloud processing. That helps reduce the cloud costs. In this actor, the device layer sends data to the fog, but each fog node has an orchestrator responsible for running the container with the necessary operation to the process data. After the data is transmitted to the cloud. In this approach, devices send data to a load balancer that communicates with a fog manager, which knows the available resources in which fog node. Based on this, decide which node will run the application and which service container will be executed on that node. After that, the data is pre-processed and sent to the cloud for final processing. This architecture also has a service discovery filter, so when new nodes are added to the fog, they are recognized. In this case, for smart cities, smart energy meter sends data to the fog. Each neighbor has its own fog, where data is aggregated, ensuring privacy since the cloud does not have access to real-time data, only aggregate information. After this, the data is transmitted to the cloud. In this work, similar to the previous one, smart energy meter sends data to the fog. Each neighbor has its own fog, where data is aggregated, ensuring privacy, since the cloud only has access to aggregated data, not real-time data. After that, the data is transmitted to the cloud. The difference here is that there is a third participant, a certifying authority, which helps prevent frauds by ensuring data truly comes from the correct device. Let's now look at the architecture proposed in this work. Visualizing the architecture of this work has a wall. The device sends data at the fog, where which fog nodes has three modules layers. The first is the protocols layers, which converts the receive protocols. It communicates with the processing layer responsible for handling the internal functions of the fog to ensure everything works correctly. Then it's connected to the surface layer, which performs a specific search in the fog. Afterward, the data goes back to the protocols layer to be transmitted either to another fog node or the cloud. Now let's open each layer to analyze in more detail. Starting with the protocol layer, we have some devices sending data in CoAP and others in HTTP. The layers receive test protocols and convert to the WebSocket, resulting in a single communication channel with the fog, avoiding the overhead of open multiple requests to communicate with the next layer. This is particularly important in an environment where the data is generated and consumed in geographic disbursement locations, requiring precise coordination between the different elements of the system. The flow layers when they need to communicate with the external world. Send the data back to protocols layers, which will convert them into the necessary protocols. In this case, we will continue using HTTP to communicate with other fog nodes and SFTP to transmit the file generated with the processed information. Now, looking at the processing layer, it receives the data transmitted via WebSocket from the previous layer. In this layer, we have the WebSocket server, which servers has the data input protocol for this layer. This symbol represents that no point its architecture tied to specific technologies. Other technologies can be used if they better match the application's requirements. And the HTTP server, which is the outgoing protocol server for this layer. HTTP has that because there are further outgoing requests compared to the data inputs in this layer. Now, moving into the service layer, we have the service send to data the protocol layer, which receives, converts the protocol and transmits the data to processing layer. The service operating this layer can range from real-time data analytics to integration with the cloud platform for storage and further processing. Once again, it's important to highlight that this architecture is not dependent on any specific technology. Other technologies can be used as needed. The outgoing protocol server in this case will be the HTTP server. Now, I will have GraphQL has data manipulation language, but we also have the service layers that some software which periodically request status from GraphQL via HTTP requests. The service layer, once it has the request data pre-processed, it descends to the cloud where the final processing is done. In our tests, the devices used were smart electricity meters, which send data every hour to the fog. The fog aggregates the data daily and sends it to the cloud, where HPCC systems process it monthly to use energy consumption reports. There are also possibilities for another fog node if interested in the data to request it through the protocol layer. The protocol layer will then access GraphQL in the processing layer and return the data to the requesting node. In conclusion, it is possible to integrate a HPCC system platform into a foggy environment. I hope you enjoy the presentation. I am searching my lecture again in case you visit it later. And I sincerely thank you for how your